Thank you very much. Yes, we start the run to Major 4 with a great matchup. Boston versus the Legion is going to be hitting our screens. And it's an interesting game between the two. Boston on the ascendant from the last time around. Everyone thinks they look better. Same with Vegas, but Vegas are playing their last card. And I wonder as we move forward, what happens now? Obviously with the Fortress hardpoint to kick this one off, not looking good for the Legion. But it is a change of roster. And you're going to hear us talk about this a lot coming forward into Major 4. Points mean more than ever. The Legion are sitting in 9th place. They have to beat the teams above them in points in the next 2 stages to try and make it a champs. As we kick off and look towards P1 as well, all the questions, all the answers will be on this man's shoulder. Standy, of course, drop from Ultra, then they win an event. A little bit of a chip on his shoulder, but can he be enough for the Legion to try and make a comeback? Obviously, with this P1 playing out as it does usually, both teams looking for that position into the P2. And already a pretty good start for the Legion, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, I'm here a little bit late towards P1 like the Legion somewhat, but yeah, we are here. Look, I think for the side of the Vegas Legion, you kind of just touched on it. Standy is the last chance saloon for them. They want to make a team that can go on to win some events. I think it's a good change. I kind of agree with Ant and Co. and what their decisions were on that one, their views on it. I think it is the right way to go. Standy, it's up to him to prove his worth after being dropped from Ultra. We've seen a very public sort of outgoing sort of situation going on over the last week or so. So interested to see how he does. But P2 rotations looking good here for the side of Vegas Legion. Something we want to talk about a little bit here as well is that the stats for Legion may not be great on this map, sitting at 0-3 in overall record, but their actual gameplay is pretty solid. Looking good so far.
They are, and obviously we did speak about the stats before. If Standy can make the difference here against Boston, at the moment, this is a very, very good hold. Boston, you can already see them splitting. They're looking for that next rotation as well, but the Legion are here, and this is a little bit chaos across the map as both teams look for the better positioning in the rotations. And while Vegas will give up that scrap time, they are here.
And a specific kill that is not great for Vegas, which they are now very much concentrating on, is P3. Overall, they're coming down to a lot of negative vibes when we're going over towards this hill specifically. Losing out nearly every single time, but Owakening yet to get himself on the board, but Boston Breach will care not about this. It's about trying to break this one. Here it comes through the gates.
They're holding this a big push as well. Boston trying to get the bodies in, but they are going to fall. It's always a hard break here on a P3. TJ just trying to make sure he stays his life, looking 2 directions as well. His teammates are spawning out just a little bit as Boston try to turn the thumb screws, but they cannot find a single kill against it. And TJ stays alive as well as they clear them out, and only going to be Beans left. It's looking like a big hold, and Boston will have to try again.
Yeah, well done from the side of Legion. Putting to bed the demons of P3. So to speak. 30 seconds remaining here as well. Standy in a good position to get this transition over. It's big kills over towards the cannon side. Now Boston spawning over towards doors. Now you're all of a sudden in trouble because the pinch is there. Standy still going on a 5 spree. Dead silence pop. Dead silence still rolling, Bryce.
He's waiting. He knows teammates are going to back him up here as well. Can he make the difference with the dead silence? Getting through as ready, but his teammate will go down. He's almost going to, he's just going to get out of it. How on earth has he just stayed alive and kept running away? He is not giving them anything to go with as Standy on a 6 streak. He's playing his life like it is a fiddle and it is a fall of Rome. There's the 7 as well. And the Legion are breaking through Boston.
Wonderfully, wonderfully played from Standy. You talk about the best SMGs in the world and what they do on this map, and it is dominate art and top art. It is just so crucial you get your SMGs, and this sort of place, it's a 9 spree on the debut from Standy. Can he keep this one going? He's dominating Boston right now.
Still looking, still moving, gonna find his 10th there as well. 14-3.
He's delusional.
We asked what the question would be. Does Standy make that big of a difference? Is this the move for them? 2 real was good, but Standy, with an electric start here in the hard point, has put Legion well into the lead.
And just a step back of what he's actually done there. So P3's locked in. Typically what happens is when you head over towards cannons, the Boston side will be there set up ready, waiting for you coming out of that P3 spawn. They'll get a lot of time at cannons. But the fact that Standy got himself out and found those 2 kills on transition, and then another 8 on top of it, it's free time for the rest of Vegas Legion to find themselves in some good positions to pick up some good time. We're now heading over towards P5. It's an 80 to 90 point lead for the side of Vegas Legion. Looking towards this transition over towards P5, looking better for Boston so far.
It is. Boston, we're going to have to find a little bit of a different gear, especially Owakening, who did start off like 0 and 9. He's now 2 and 11. Uncharacteristic for him in this game. And they're going to need big weight to get even bigger. There's already a few kills come through. This is good time so far for Boston.
Yeah, he's maybe just a slightly small wake right now at 3 and 11. And I think, honestly, he hasn't necessarily been performing to the levels we have been associating with Owakening since Beans came on the roster. So I don't know if it's sort of a pacing side of things between the 2 ARs. Things yet to get rolling. This is a good hold so far from Boston. Beans with a good kill on the stand. He's the only one who can find something. Potential break for Legion here, but that is pretty much a full 60 from Boston Breach. Just what you didn't want if you're Vegas Legion. Yeah, TJ will get the kills towards the end. Rotation over towards P1 still looking good for Legion. They'll be happy with their lead. Would have been happier if they didn't give up 60 over towards P5.
They certainly will. With a new member comes new comms. Let's have a listening to the Vegas Legion.
One shot, bitch.
Go to time.
He's under boat window. Vivid.
At lower. Inbox done.
Look at that. Under boat window. You have our flanks? Top tree. Three, last kid. Four.
I'm getting in the truck.
Yo, stay close.
One guy's on stage. Only one. No, only one.
It's not me. I need help off spawn.
I'm helping you.
He's bottom P4. Got him. I got him.
Gate. Get him up. He's going lower. We're close. Nice.
One shot. Go look stage.
I am.
Everyone gate. Bench weak.
Stage he lied in.
I got you.
I did. Where is he?
One shot gate it all.
Yo, calm down. Yo, we need to listen. Okay, we need to listen.
Backstage.
We have 2 sticks now, right?
What do you have?
I'm holding. You have right side.
Stage. I died.
I'm camping in the back.
Give me a streaker.
Yeah,
Streak. You have back doors on me.
Back door's dead.
I spawned out front.
Three steps.
You have a pinch.
Three steps dead.
Let's pinch. Let's go.
Just flood out.
No. Let's go. Left side trash.
Trash and angel. Open.
Corner.
Hey, one shot.
One's open.
Two open. One behind stage.
P5.
We need to work together, man. Come on.
Alright, yeah, let's get this time.
Calm what you're doing. Let's play this time. One more shot. Two behind stage.
One more then.
Weak on stage.
And you can hear Clayster desperately trying to rally the troops. Calm down, shut up. We've got to get this right on the pinch. And so far it hasn't been. Boston have held them at bay for so long to get those points back on the board. It is a 50-point game, but that can all change here, Ton. The rotation is in for Boston.
And Standy finding 3 will give them a little bit of respite over towards P2, but you are very right. This rotation for Boston looking good. Dead silence pop from Standy. He'll try and make a play with this over towards maps, and then I'd imagine it'll be the Hail Mary of the cruise missile coming on through. Nero will be the first to fall, but he does find Clayster. So just the setup coming in, but TJ's teammate still does have his cruise missile as well. Here it comes.
Well, TJ's been frying, and they're going to try and use this now if they can, and he hits it towards the back away from the trophy system. He gets it in, but can they get any more kills coming through? This is always a hard break. One player's going to be in. It's TJ. Frying so far, it's going to fall to a grenade. The break has not come through. Clayster now trying to get in. They've managed to spawn Boston out for a second, and they are flooding towards this player they know is isolated and alone. Down he falls as well. 24 seconds left to go, and the Legion are in, and they will take this scrap time every day of the week.
And that's a big 20 seconds that they managed to get a hold of. They'll get themselves a lot closer to that 250 mark now with that. Boston Breach would have been within touching distance had they held that full 60 once more. But now this is what Boston were kind of expecting to do on that previous rotation. They lost P3 rotation themselves. They were wanting to set up. This time around, Vegas Legion do not have Standy in a good position to do something about this. Nero will be the first to fall though, with the gun of Standy. Still running hard. The kill's starting to fall in though, just slowly picking their way through this time.
Still, slowly but surely, the trades are falling, but at the moment, not really falling for the Legions. The Awakening takes down Standy. That's a big kill. Trying to keep control of the top here as Awakening finds a second. Not a good start to the game, but he is playing better now. Points for Boston are slowly ticking up. Considering some of the kill disparity we have seen on this map, you would think Legion should have it done by now.
It's looking that way. TJ is a moment away from a 30 bomb at this moment in time, just trying to play his life. Will get sniffed out by Nero. 20 seconds to go here. Over towards cannons, and you've got to start thinking about blacksmiths, which is where Awakening already is. So the spawn rotation starting to come in. That's going to be something for Vegas Legion to think about. They're trying to get themselves set up here, Bryce, but there's a potential pinch on the cards. Awakening is fully stepped it up here for Boston, and they're in a good position to potentially break this.
Oh, that's a huge kill already. Been to fall down. Awakening's going to find his second as well, though. Nobody on the point for either team. Awakening coming out. Oh, right, trying to find the kill he should have found, and he's trying to thread the needle. He's on a 4 streak. More people are challenging him as Big Weight goes to work, but Temple take him down. Eventually, the Legion break into this point, and Vivid tries to hold them at bay, but now they have to reset and regain. 25 seconds left, and Legion will take this.
Huge kill coming in from Standy just to break things open, just to stop that flow of tide of kills coming in from Boston Breach. Standy will find another now, just being a nuisance once more inside the bottom art. Kills start to come their way. Awakening has to make a play here for the side of Boston Breach. Vegas Legion still 20 away. They have had control, but it's completely gone. TJ's the only one left. He will fall. 15 seconds that are likely going to go over towards Boston, and if you're Legion, you're not in a good spot to get to P1 either.
You certainly are. We talked about Big Wake earlier, by the way. 0 and 9. He's 25 and 21. It has been a ridiculous comeback from him. And the Legion now have to figure a way out of this trap. They have to make the kills. They have to break it. Because right now, Boston can win on this point.
How do you get yourself out of this one? Temple to kill over towards the P2 side may well be the catalyst for this now. TJ looking to just take the ankles off one of the players inside the point, but now the setup here from Clayster could potentially be it for the side of Legion. Round on the flank, where are the rest of the squad to try and break this? Boston have hit in 2-2-5 in just a second.
This is everything. Boston trying to get out of the gate as well. Looking for it. Clayster will take that on the first one. Nero is still on the point. Nobody challenging, but they are winning the kills. Legion looking to lock this one through. They need to find them. Only one player left, and they are on the point. And I think they've just about got the tick. I might be wrong. We'll have to just double check that as it goes through. But they may be able to win it here. But P2 is still in the air. They just have to contest it. Off. Yeah, Boston will contest it. It is going to P2.
We're heading over. They just got off the point there, and now if you're Vegas Legion, you're not in a good spot. It's a huge kill from Standy. Won't find the second. Vivid with a crucial one. 8 seconds away from Boston. I don't know if Legion are even going to get there.
I don't think they will. The Legion now have to run through the doors. This is all choke points. This is all the time. Boston have this one locked in, surely. And 2-4-9. They're in somewhere. They've managed to get on the point. TJ finds 2. It's TJ. TJ. He's still alive. Beats flies in, and Standy is going to find the kill. And the Legion are in. One last chance. 2 seconds for Boston. They fly into the point, and it's going to be away. Standy with a 2-piece, and the Legion with a ridiculous start to their Major 4 run. What on all on earth was that? It could have gone both ways. Temp is laughing. Clayster's not happy. I don't know what happened in that last hill, but it's chaos and destruction.
I'm shell-shocked, to be frank.
I've never wanted to swear more during a broadcast.
It's first game of the Major. I can't do that. I mean, TJ somehow I mean, the production are already getting that replay going, I presume, because we need to see that again. We need to potentially see from what happened with TJ's side of things, because it is a huge break. It's a 1-point game. Let's roll it back and we'll have a little look and see how this actually goes down. So Clayster over towards P1. Yeah, okay, things are getting mixy. You've got to get moving. Keep an eye on TJ. He's number 8 on the minimap, bottom left corner. He's making his way through art. The break's starting to come. Awakening in a good spot. Finds to kill TJ with the first one through the door. And now all of a sudden he's left on his own. They challenge him one by one. 3 to break it open. Here comes the cavalry. There's another one for TJ. And that's pretty much all she wrote. Apart from the fact that Boston nearly break themselves back into this one. Nero flies through to bait it. Awakening and Code then find their way around, and it's the Hail Mary nade from Standy to close out the game. That was stressful. Much more stressful than it should have been for Vegas Legion, who felt like they were in control the majority of the time. And I think that's why you see Clayster kind of like, wow, I mean, we've got away with one there. 250 to 249. That's the first win on Fortress Hardpoint for Vegas Legion this season.
And they made a great lead look difficult. I cannot begin to explain what we have just witnessed. Legion was so far ahead. They were winning all the slaying. TJ and Standy had incredible maps, and well, let's face it, TJ made a 4 to get it at the end. Awakening started arriving, and everybody at home in the CDL was sitting going, Legion, you can't lose like this on another hard point. It cannot happen again. And by all rights, they should have lost, But TJ Halley arrived.
I mean, they really should have. They really should have lost because I mean Boston at that stage kind of played those rotations that little bit better. Standy did slow down towards the end of the game, but I mean, how could he keep up with the fact that he dropped a 10 spree? If we take a step back, okay, Vegas Legion will be happy with the win. Definitely fixed some of their issues, which was P3. They did the better of the two teams on that hill specifically. But for me, what seemed to be the issue is that when Boston got themselves into a hardpoint, apart from the final one, of course, where eventually Legion went on to win it by a point, every other hill apart from that, when Boston had a lock, it didn't look like Vegas Legion had a route in. It didn't look like they had a plan of how to break things down. So maybe that's something just to work on with the team as things go forward. Maybe just a couple of growing pains, if you like. But for Boston Breach, that they're kind of it's their own downfall though. Like how bad that start was, if you don't start that bad, if you go even through the first few hills, you win that game comfortably. Very comfortable.
I'm actually just DMing Clay, just telling him that he can't keep doing this to me when we're casting. Like every time Legion do something ridiculous on hard points when we have them in a game. But well, unbelievable start all around, and realistically I don't even know where to begin, because we've got a lot of series left to go. But this is an important match for both teams. For Boston, they want to make sure they are safe. We are talking a lot about not only Major 4, Major 5, the run to champs, but every 10 points will accumulate going forward. But let's take a breath. Let's move on. Let's talk about our S&D. Nero versus TJ Halley as our S&D players. At one point, a lot of people thought TJ was the best S&D player in the league. Maybe a little bit of a dip recently in form, but they're still going to rely on for this one.
I mean, if you can bring over that level of slaying that we just seen in the hard points of the Search and Destroy on top of his S&D smarts in general, then this is going to be a difficult game now for the side of Boston Breach. Nero, of course, has had a good time of things, and we'll speak about Elisilo specifically in just a moment. But I want to talk about the series as an overall there. That hard point towards Vegas Legion is a huge scalp for them to take now, because all of a sudden you have S&D, which we know they are very solid at. When it comes down to Elisilo, a better record than the side of Boston, who are really struggling with first bloods. We'll keep an eye on that as we go through. But then you've got Himmelmatt Expo coming up in Control. First time that we've seen it. Any of you guys at home have seen it. First time these two teams have played it professionally. Any teams have played it professionally, for that fact. So there's so much on the line here for Boston that it could go anywhere. S&D is not favored their side of things. Control is up in the air. And then all of a sudden you have at least another Search and Destroy to come. Not the best spot to be in if you're the Boston Breach. Search and Destroy is going to be a struggle here.
Well, nothing ends until it ends, and let's find out. Onto the S&D. And we can see at the moment Vivid will have that sniper in hand. No information quite yet. A slow and steady push here for the Legion, and Beans has to get away with his life.
And I want to say that Vegas Legion have maybe done their homework here, because Boston always send Beans out to this side, and you seen it initially off the rip. Nate's heading over towards that side. They get him weak with them and they fly towards it. But now Vivid's being able to reposition. He's found two, and the plan has fallen apart. Temp now left in a 1 versus 3, make that a 0 versus 3. Boston Breach may well lose Beans, but eventually do pull out the 3v4. And actually, that's a beautiful segue into what I was going to talk about. Boston are the worst first blood team on this map by some distance, but the second highest in 3v4. There's another one of them.
I'm just excited. I'm excited to see this continue on moving forward. The thing is about Boston, and we spoke about this in the off-season when all the talent kind of get together and discuss what we think of the teams for the upcoming season. Boston have put in a performance that has looked good enough for us to have high expectations now, right? With Beans coming through, the question was asked, is he going to be good enough for this team to make a run for the top of the CDL? And I think the answer is yes, but we just didn't get to see it enough at Major number 3.
Now on the attack for Boston. What is the player? Beans has been very influential on this map, actually, and we speak of the records. You know, Vegas Legion, very good LSCO Search and Destroy team, but Boston, since Beans came onto the roster, are sitting at 2-0. Can they find the first blood here? Temp will put a couple of bullets into Nero. Will that allow the rest of Legion to make themselves into a position to find the kills? They don't need to. Temp will find 2 of his own. 4v2 now for Boston Breach to try and pull from the fire here, Bryce.
Patience, as they hope that somebody from the Legion will give them an easy kill. Awakening trying to play an angle as well. He's here with Beans. And all of Legion are playing this one very passive. Beans finds somebody. That player is getting out of there. It's going to be Clayster. We'll give them no opportunity to do anything as Beans does a bit of parkour. Up and down, looking for him. I think the timing may have just been off there. Sees a pixel of Clayster's forehead and will grab it. 2 versus 3. Bomb's miles away, though.
Yeah, that's their big problem. Beans showing that he is nimble. Doesn't look it. Owakening out in the middle of the map, trying to go for the bomb. 8 seconds to go. It's going to be difficult. TJ will find the kill. Beans now alive and kicking, but will not be able to do anything for the side of the Boston Breach. A 3v1. Legion will tie things up here. And just solid play from Temp. He finds the 2 kills in the middle of the map. And then from there, it's always very difficult for Boston, but that's 2 first bloods now for Vegas Legion. If they can continue this, they should be looking good here in this Search and Destroy. A 2-0 lead in the series will be nice. Plenty of S&D to go, though.
As we continue to find out, maybe the first bloods will decide who walks away with this S&D. It's one of those ones after an electric first map. You've got to calm down, get the heart rate down, and just play S&D the way you're supposed to. It's always kind of a wild swing of momentum going from game mode to game mode. Right now, the Legion almost gets caught. TJ will be stunned. That's a little bit of information there for Boston. Temp gets first blood again, though.
Another one. I mean, I'm struggling to get my heart rate down after that one, so I don't know about the players. It's me up for the rest of the night, to be honest with you, but Vegas Legion down. That first blood. 3 in a row. Can you make it count again? Look at the transition here from Legion, though. Temp making his way around the outside of the map, and look at this. Player Nero is going to get caught inside of the office. Clayster will find him. Now a 4 versus 2. Vivid and Owakening. Can you find anything here? I mean, they're getting absolutely smoked at the moment, Bryce.
Owakening looking for him. Finds a little tick on the Clayster. TJ goes for a challenge, gets out of there as well. Could have been 2 kills. That bomb will go down. Owakening looking for the miracle 1v4. Will not get anything because Stanley will shut him down. And you are right, Legion are finding the first bloods. It is a problem for Boston.
And I wonder what the issue is, because, I mean, it is difficult when you're going up against a team like Legion when it does come down to this map. They're a very, very solid Search and Destroy team as it goes. One of the best, if not the best in the league outside of FaZe. And then it's just so difficult to maybe take some of these gunfights. Vegas Legion are setting themselves up in good positions. It's not like Legion are pushing and finding these first bloods. It's like Temp from the back line. He'll find something there. Boston just offering just a little bit too much information to Legion off the rip. Sniper after Temp.
Oh my goodness, Vivid went for the second chow and actually ends up getting it. Down to a 3 versus 3. And Temp's going to be furious. Beans is going to be in a great position. Look on the right-hand side of your screen. He's going to find Clay. Clay will get out of that with 21 health. The reflexes of Clayster just allowing him to survive.
Better reflexes than me, and we're the same age. Past 20, put it that way. Beans this time, though, will find him. Oh, TJ just ready and waiting for this one. No, plays it nice and smart. Gets out as well. And he'll probably know that's bomb. If anybody's pushing over towards B, yep, there's the check. So for Legion now, a lot of information. Beans and Owakening, not a great deal.
TJ now has to play his life against players he knows are looking for him. Owakening up top. He's going to try and take him down as well. Owakening will get that kill. Not a lot of cover out there in field, unfortunately, and will pay the price. That is a big win there for Boston in the end. Get themselves back into this S&D. You do not want to go down 4-1.
Things could have got very, very mixy there for Boston. Think of the way that they lost map number 1 as well. Going down 2-0. Sometimes you would just be mentally checked. Seen it before for Vegas Legion, haven't we? Not necessarily a comeback this time, but up against LA Thieves, it was pretty much a straight, easy fight after that first hard point. And with that comeback, a close game like that can have a very similar effect. But now where is the push coming from? From the side of Legion. Slow and steady wins the race once more. Oh, look at this.
Perfect angle from Vivid. And Nero will find TJ as well. It's gone down to a 3 versus 3 again as both teams exchanging fire. Vivid trying to stay alive in a commanding position. He's taken map control away from the Legion. And Beans has Overwatch in bar as well. A difficult position here for them, but Clayster finds Vivid. Beans finds Clayster.
Yeah, don't know Beans is there, though. So now slow and steady push from Temp, who will try and look for a shot onto Beans if he can. Just waiting for him to make a mistake. Temp will see him, will pull the shots away, though, and all of a sudden Beans has got the information he needs to get out. Shots are there and will just about get out. But for Legion, that's a little bit more map control. If you're Standy, are you going to go for the plant? Are you going for the kills? 28 seconds to go. That's a very advanced position with the bomb. Oh, he gets gunned by Beans as well. I think the information for us is easier to say. Maybe you should go for the plant, but that positioning from Standy, not the best that time around. Now Temper's got it all to do.
He's been found as well. They have the information on him. This cuts down all of his options. He might fly towards B, but if he does, they're going to surely realize, decides not to. There'll be no plant for him. Finds a player anyway, does get the first, but it doesn't matter. But we Boston taking the lead here in the S&D 3-2.
Yeah, I think, as said for us, and it's very easy for me, well, me personally and everybody at home to get kind of caught in this trap of seeing the positioning that was there. But I tell you what, Beans does well. Gets a little bit of nice timing, but that first hip fire shot as well, you will take those all day long. Standy gets gunned out of his boots, and all of a sudden we're heading into a Boston Breach lead, Brycey. Somehow, someway.
Well, let's see. The Boston brings to 4-2. Or do the Legion have something in their playbook? TJ going to be a bit aggressive here. Can't be too aggressive, unfortunately. He doesn't have dead silence up. Clayster going to be on overwatch here. He knows there's going to be a player and has to get out of that nade spot as well. But right now, both teams playing this slow.
Vivid ready for that one. Clayster dodging IRL as well as in-game. Gets himself out of that positioning. Vivid has really been influential for this Boston side so recently. Since Beans came into the roster, it does seem as if things have got a little bit easier for him to play his game. Very much a playmaker for the side of Boston. Standing up on the flank, will find a kill, will get himself out now. A dangerous position for Boston Breach to be in now.
TJ, that is a kill you should not win, but he gets it anyway. And Boston really want to try and make something of this, but severely outnumbered, and Awakening already damaged. Goes out there with a knife. It's not going to change back in time. Leaves Nero into a 1 versus 4. He does have the bomb, but does he have a hope? He actually just cancels that one as well. Looks at the play. Nero guns him. Unfortunately, the rest of the Legion will not allow him to get this bomb down. It's shoulders at dawn, and the Legion get around back on the board.
Nicely done. TJ just being a nuisance top green as well. The aggression originally came in from Boston, but not able to find anything in the end. It was always looking like a Vegas round from that first gunfight. Good job from Legion. Steadying the ship after what has felt like a good start to the game, but yeah, here we are at 3-3. Boston with a quick turnaround, but very, very even so far.
Let's see who can break away from the pack then. This time, Boston on defense. Nero being aggressive, does have dead silence, has the opportunity to make a move here if he chooses so. The Legion going for mid-map control as well as the gunfights already kick off. Vivid will find Clayster. TJ gets it back on the beat. There's a gunfight there. Vivid flies into their spawn. And now TJ's heard somebody, and he gets the kill back as well, down to a 2 versus 2.
Oh, just gets away with his life as well. 17 HP. 2 spree for Standy. Yeah, needs to continue to survive. Vivid will find one. It's a 1v1.
TJ and Vivid are going to find every single kill at this point. I think Standy found 1 otherwise, but TJ finds 3. Vivid finds 3. The difference is it's 1 kill, and the Legion go up 4-3.
TJ, I think it's that kill after the bomb goes down where he pushes over towards small, gets himself into that position. Automatically, you either have a flank, you can go up top, you can stay exactly where you are just to stop any players pushing from that side. It's a wonderful position to be in. TJ lighting it up in this series so far. Nearly dropped the 40 bomb and a 4-piece to win the game in map number 1. Now here he is in Search and Destroy. Very much the S&D player that we very much promise every single time we do see this Vegas Legion side. 8-3 out of him, 5 spree. If he can make it a 6, it would help Legion on their way to winning this second map as well.
Desperately wants it as well. Difficult in S&D to find, especially the way it's been playing. It's been pretty aggressive so far. Check the bomb side, and Sandy will find the first and the second as well. Boston 4. And now they don't have map positioning, they don't have the bomb, they don't have the players. And all Legion need to do is hold their nerve, and this round is theirs.
And Standy was on a little bit of a spree previously. He's now found 3. He'll be wanting that ace, but let's make sure we secure the round. It is Big Wake, and Standy is indeed looking for it. Clayster will be the one to find a Vegas Legion map point. think the only negative they can take away from that is they didn't get the cruise missile in for TJ, but they'll have another opportunity in this next round as well. But really nice play. Standy gets aggressive. And I feel like Boston really sat back there. It didn't seem like they had any map control past bar. Looking for the pick to try and find that map control. Standy ready and waiting on the outside of the map. Opens the double doors and finds two very, very clean kills. Vegas Legion now. Map point as mentioned. Looking good in the search and destroy. It's felt like they've been in control of the majority of the scoreline, showing that now.
One more round to give them the advantage here before we head into the unknown on map number 3. TJ making a move. No dead silence will be caught as well. A little bit too loud. A bit iron boots. Vivid looking for a second one. There goes the fight. Standy not able to find him. And they have to back off here, Ton.
Yep, not sure what that stunned it. But it didn't hit the door. And all of a sudden, it has to be a different kind of play. I love the play with the door. Oh, just not quite timed to perfection. And Vivid will be there to clean it up after Tempest find Nero. Now Clayster left in the 1 versus 3. So no cruise missile for TJ. I think for your Boston Breach, you're counting your lucky stars that isn't going to be a factor. Of course, on this map, it's not necessarily the best of things, but not a bad information tool by any stretch. Now Clayster.
Yeah, this is kind of ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's
Boston
tough.
Aren't even bothering. They're just letting Owakening play with Clay. Because he can't do anything. There's nowhere he can go. He's worried about the other players. And they're like, hey, we know where the bomb is. We'll stay right here. Owakening take care of it eventually. A horrible position for Clayster, but Boston Breach get that round.
Yeah, that's rough. I don't want to be going against anyone snaking up top 10. Never mind Big Wake.
And he was worried as well. He thought maybe another player was about to pinch him. But on the minimap, Boston weren't moving. They'd stacked that site. Like, it's all right. We'll let him play. Awakening's probably calling out saying, yeah, he's still there. He's still there. I'll get him at some point. But here we go. Can Boston, on this attack, bring this round to a round 11?
Slow and steady here from Vivid. Expecting some aggression potentially from Legion. Neither team really wanting to... I tell you what. Oh, he doesn't hit him. That looked destined for Clayster.
I thought it was a little bit right. A little bit right.
Just a little bit.
And you've got to hold your nerve in this situation. Boston, if you've got a game plan, enact it. Legion, do not hesitate. They've spread wide. They've got Clayster and Temp watching the wings. They have given up a bit of mid-map control. They've got TJ here. And he's got dead silence.
I don't know how Beans hasn't hit him on the way, though. There you go. It's a simple kill for TJ. Clayster with one on the other side of the map. Surely this is it now for Legion.
Awakening gets one back. Bomb will go down for Boston. 2 versus 3 with bomb down. Stanley pops the superpower, so goes straight in towards it. And he's going to go for the ninja. Nero has his own Teddy. He's flying around, hoping to get there in time. But that bomb is going to be defused as nobody has sights on it. And this does not end with a bang, but with a whimper. Ninja defused to put Legion 2-0 in the series.
Pros don't fake. Standy straight in onto the bomb.
He was expecting a fight and went, okay, then I'll just defuse it.
Well,
especially what it was planted for.
I mean, with Boston in that position, it's best to just get out of the site, isn't it? I mean, you are in a 2v3 situation. They will just try and play trades if you're Vegas Legion. You have to get out. And he says, yeah, no problem. Goes for the defuse. It's a 9-5 from Standy, 9-5 from TJ. Those two players have been leading this team through the first 2 maps where they've found wins. Maps 1 and 2 over towards the side of Vegas Legion before, as you rightly say, we head into the unknown on Control Expo, which is going to be coming up on the other side of a break. But that's an impressive performance from the side of Legion. The first blood's very much in their favor, as we expected. Now they have themselves in prime position to close out this series. Last game that Legion actually played before this one was against Boston. They knocked them out of the Texas Major. Good opportunity for revenge here. Now press 2-0 up.
It really is good time. But speaking of a good time, we're going to go for a quick break. When we come back, map number 3, Control, a map we've never seen before at high-level professional play. We're in for a good time. See you soon.
The Call of Duty League is presented by the GMC Hummer EV Pickup, the world's first all-electric super truck. Upgrade your game with the Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is brought to you by the new series Citadel, premiering on April 28th only on Prime Video.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. We are with good vibes with the Legion right now. They are 2-0 up against Boston Breach. But we head into a very different scenario. We are going to control something the Legion has famously not been great at, including losing it to a coach at Major number 3. But with all bad things, they must come to an end. Fortress is gone. In its place, a brand new map. Will this be a change for Legion? Because the stats aren't great, Ton.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're getting rid of Fortress, but I think the fact remains is that Vegas Legion's control has been significantly their worst game mode. I'd argue they're the worst control team in the CDL. 5-19 record. Wins do not come by very often. Of course, you do have the factor of the brand new map. You've got the factor of Standy in there as well, but is that going to be enough of a difference maker for Legion? Because control has been a huge problem for them. Or is the new map the catalyst? And Standy, another catalyst for the team to get themselves a win here. A 3-0 on over Boston Breach if they can secure out Himmelman Expo. But I mean, here we go. I mean, Expo as well. Like, we're gonna have to talk about this throughout. I mean, we're gonna be learning it as time goes on with you guys as well. The meta will change throughout, I would imagine, as well. A is typically the easier to hit. B, quite difficult without a forward down. It is, of course, still defensively heavy. That's a good break for Boston Breach. That should be a decent chunk of time over towards A. Vegas Legion may well not bother and have to be careful of the spawn kills where Nero is sitting here up in top glass.
Yeah, we will take you through some of the bits we've learned. We have gone through some research and what's some fun onto this one, and that's really not what you want to happen regardless. A can be an easy contest though, and this is the problem. It's always difficult for it. Beans tries to stay alive, got 2 points under it, has to take down Standy for 1, but with this control point being inside and outside, it makes it good for the defensive team to put a contest in, and that's what happened.
They have found a little bit of respite here though, Boston, with a push over towards the theater side. Temple deal with him though, and this is so difficult round B. There's so many different spots for the defensive team to sit. Standing in this position as well will be spawning Boston further towards that B side, forces them that direction as well. But these kills from Boston maybe did give them a route through towards A, but once again the kills fly through. Vegas in a nice spot here. Clayster in this spot is not going to prevent those spawns towards the left hand side, so Boston will have an opportunity over towards A in a second.
This is all about spawn control here for Legion. They are trying to get Boston to spawn at the top of this minimap and haven't been able to do as effective as they want to, but with 3 going down, it's only going to be Beans alive. And a gun there from Beans keeps it. They've got the good spawn for A. As Tem tries to cut it off, and they are going to put bodies in here for this point.
Oh, that's huge. There you go. That's going to be A, and they've got to be in danger here of Vegas Legion of B. These next couple of gunfights are huge. Vivid will win the first. A is already gone. We got to go over towards B now. As Boston Breach have found a route through. Legion are here in numbers. The kills are still flowing for Boston.
Yeah, it's always dangerous. That A to B switch is very close, the two of them, to get to one to the other. Beans trying to stay alive on stage, will fall as well. And now this is the problem. Boston have to keep the door open. They do not want to get spawned out. You can already see the Legion trying to keep that spawn towards the top. They haven't really done it yet. That's something we saw in the VODs. As Boston know they do not want to get pushed in there either.
Oh, that's a big win as well from Vivid. Now he can get himself over towards the reception and glass side and try and cause havoc. This is going to be the route through for the attacking team. Get someone in and around connector here, and this is where you can potentially cause havoc. But TJ is playing this so smart. Look at him staying alive. Boston think they have ultimate control, but TJ is there to potentially break this.
TJ's waiting for a little bit of reinforcements, trying to see if he can find anything here. He's going to find a little bit of Vivid, but we'll be standing to get it down as well. But Nero fires back, Awakening here at the same time. TJ has to fly out and he'll find the kill. But there are so many bodies here for them as well, but Clayster can't find the two. And Beans with 9 health has to try and stay alive. He falls as well. It is back and forth onto this point. Vivid will jump on once again, causing Legion to have to step on the pedal.
9v5 in the lives department. Make that 9 versus 4. You cannot die if you're Legion now. Clayster with a big kill. Temple will get taken down though. 8 versus 2 as Clayster kills Standy. It was already looking a little bit difficult, but that's an attacking round for Boston Breach to kick things off. Defensively sided still, as the majority of the controlled games are typically. So that's a big first round for Boston in this series.
That is huge. It was the transition between A and B very, very fast that caused problems for Legion. They were never able to get the control they wanted to.
That's it.
And we'll see if they can try and do that themselves as well. Boston will be looking for a little bit better control around theater. We've spoken to some of the pros and professional teams coming into this map, and they said this can be an SMG player's best game. Just those tight corners, those quick interactions at the moment, not really playing an awful lot like it. Beans 9 and 4 is kind of the standout.
I think it's just been about that control around the A side. He found so many kills when they found that positioning over there, but the defensive team going to do well themselves to lock something down here. Kills from afar is what were found, so Vegas Legion still able to get a little bit of rest point and are able to push forward over towards the A side. Clayster can read that nice and easily. Just about trying to find these kills. Standy was actually waiting for the reinforcements to come on the flank from Boston. We'll find that kill onto Nero. Another opportunity here now for the Legion.
They're getting into A. They're making sure they get close spawn as well. They're going to be a little bit worried about it. Here comes the reinforcements. Awakening. Going to drop a cruise missile. Beans will find one to TJ. And Awakening will find Standy. Temp still alive. Eventually falls down to Beans. It's bad news for the Legion as Clayster tries just to stay alive and make sure that Boston don't get full map control.
Yeah, and him staying alive is so important here, right? Because if Boston can force their way up down the snowy side of the map, if you like, past saunas, that's when you start spawning Legion over towards the B side and into a potential blender. Eventually, the Legion will get a little bit of control over towards the A side. They're going to try and do something about it. We'll find one, but that's going to be probably an extra minute. Not quite. Just about from Vivid. The second's insane. Lovely plays, but they've opened up the door ever so slightly over towards the B side. Legion. A little bit of control over there now. Can they find the kills and lock down some decent time?
It's a big kill from Standy. The reinforcements from Boston will flood in if they start losing players. Beans will find 2 though, so it doesn't really matter. And Nero's here, tries to find the first, looks for the second, not going to find it. Temp has done a big job there just by stopping the clock.
And the problem here for Vegas Legion, because they give up that air control and snap cold their way over towards B, now all of a sudden Boston Breach can kind of control these spawns. Vegas Legion starting to spawn over towards the statue side, and you've got to head into the gunfights in a disadvantageous position every single time. Look where Legion spawn. You'll see a couple of kills come through, and you'll see in the top left corner, that's where Legion are going to spawn themselves up. It's so close to B. You have to commit to B to get through, or you have to wrap around and try and get rid of number 3, Awakening, who is forcing that spawn over there. A couple of kills going to come in 3. This is looking like a 2-0 for Boston.
It is, and yeah, it doesn't look like Awakening's doing an awful lot, but all he's doing is pushing that spawn, allowing the kills to flood in for Boston. TJ finds one though. Nero will fly out, finds his first one, stays alive, and finds another one. And that may just be the end of Legion here on this control. Temp will find a kill. I think they've got bodies towards it. Whereas the spawn coming in for Boston, it's still going to be close.
This is just so hard. 11 versus 3. It would take quite the collapse from Boston Breach here. Temp trying to push forward, just trying to ease some of that pressure before it inevitably does come. A couple of kills going to come through. The Standy will fall. You need it to be perfect. Temp left all on his lonesome. He's not going to get the tick. Vivid will gun him. Boston Breach 2 to the good. They've been doing their homework, Bryce.
They have. And it's just what happens. This is the blender. Like it doesn't look as clean as Fortress. But once you push those spawns up to the top of the map, the defensive team will take advantage of their spawns and the fact you have to check a million corners to get into theater. And they've done it. And it's the way you are supposed to do it, or at least that's the way we've been told you're supposed to do it, not being pros ourselves. But it can be a bit of a nightmare. Can the Legion find something on their defense, though? Take this to around 4, maybe have a second crack at the attack.
Boston have looked really clean. Legion, I say a little bit despondent. They seem to be still learning to a certain degree. Boston, specifically Beans, finding 2 kills off the rip as well. And that's a kill that Standy could have do with finding now, as Vivid will try to reinforce over towards the A side. Clayster, the only one left, and he will find two, though. So nicely done, but Boston, with a lot of bar control, Beans will be the only ones able to find anything. So that's actually a clean wipe for the side of the Legion. Now they can push forward and try force Boston back.
And TJ looking for Awakening at the top here, staying alive as well. You can see they are now forcing Boston out where they want them. They have to make these kills first, and TJ somehow snaps back onto it. Only thing that separates Beans and TJ is a door.
Steady away. TJ happy to play his time here. It's a great grenade. The stun, I mean, that's just unfortunate. He will get rid of Beans. So that's going to allow Standy to now push up towards this side, but you can see the spawns came in from Nero. Over towards the snow side, he'll make his way. Over towards the diner. Still alive yet. This is looking good for Legion to finally get a defensive round underneath their belts as Nero is slowly making his way. And Standy will say thank you very much. Awakening really the only one who can potentially do something over towards 8. 10 seconds to go.
Standy trying to stay alive. They've already found him a little bit here. Boston will have to commit to a point. They've got players going through theatre. They've got Awakening sitting pretty here up top, and I think Standy knows where he is as well. We'll cut him down. The rest of Boston trying to get into theatre as well. They will stop the clock on 0.1 second. Tem should have never won that gunfight, but he wins it. He's alive. And just a kill goes against them here, and Boston will not get a single tick onto this one. Standy flies out towards the first. Looks for Beans as well. Not able to gun him.
Tell you what.
Vivid will find Standy, and Boston's still alive.
So Clayster is forcing the spawns here for Boston Bridge, which is allowing these reinforcements to get here just that little bit quicker, which is why he then starts to go on the fight. Big gunfight that's going to be won by Awakening. This is potential for Boston. They'll surely extend this clock here, but TJ Temp will get themselves in. Legion, a round on the board, but just about.
And that is very, very close, but while Legion have held them here on defense, they now have to try and do it on attack. They faltered in theatre last time around. Little shake of the head there from Clayster. He knows it's a hard win from this point. The one benefit is, if I am correct in this, is that Legion have more ticks if they get this win. They will have defense going into round number 5, but they have to win this attack first.
I mean, we've seen the defense in the first round, Bryce. Who knows if it's a beneficiary for the side of Legion, being sitting at 27 and 15. What a great game here so far, and it's a big hit over towards the B side for Legion. And the thing is, if you can get control of this side, it's not the easiest of breaks for Boston. The next couple of kills are so influential. You've got to expect the flank, and there it comes. 2 kills coming on through for Legion. Good opportunity over towards B.
Standy finds it as well.
Massive.
It's a full stack for Legion. They are stacking this point massively. We don't see stacks that often because of the nades that can rain in, but with trophies down and bodies here, B is taken swiftly. A full 2 minutes 16 now for the Legion to move on to A.
Problem is here, though, it has allowed Boston to set up in the middle of the map, which will then control those spawns for Legion. If you can go around with it, finding those kills and not dying, then yeah, it's fine. Oh, my, that is absolutely disgraceful. This man is shooting ridiculous at this moment in time. A couple of uncharacteristically ridiculous kills from Tempe is going to continue to survive, and that's now given a little bit of respite for Vegas Legion to try and force their way out. They're trying to find Awakening. They do. Prime position for Legion to tie this up.
Standy finds a Temp and beats again, but the Temp will get the better of it. Staying alive here now up towards top glass. This is a game of chess. Both these teams trying to figure this map out as best they can. Temp's going to find Beans flying through, but Beans is ready for it, and the pre-aim comes in, and Boston gets a wipe. They are pushing them into the spawn they do not want to be. You have to run either main street or through tunnel to get out of this effectively. And Legion will go to street because that is the spawn they want, and they need to clear it.
And they've got time to clear it. They've got the lives to clear this as well. They can take their time. We're in no rush just yet. Awakening just sitting over towards backstage, and here come the rest of the Legion now. And know that Vivid sitting around 10 somewhere, but he's got company as well. Nero will be the first one to fall. Vivid the second as well. Beans is able to find one. Awakening here as a reinforcement as well. The up top bar is where Beans is going to be sitting, but he isn't needed as Awakening finds 2. Really nice play from Boston, but they've been forced just a little bit further back. The fact that Awakening is so far up, though, still spawns Legion far away. This is far from over.
It isn't, and they have got a commanding position.
Good Lord.
Top bar. Awakening sitting Snow and Saunders and Beans in the bar. It is a horrible way forward here. The Legion, with 28 seconds left, need to spread out the map, find the kills, check your corners, and still get to the point, as Beans will not allow them to get anywhere, and he now moves into Globe.
Next couple of kills are absolutely massive for Legion. Nero, can he find anything here just to slow down this pressure that's going to start coming in? The cruise missile coming in from Beans. Clayster will find one, but here comes the missile. Hits absolutely nothing. Vegas Legion are in.
Clayster finds the first, but he will be blindsided here as Vivid is going to be there as well. More bodies piling in. 5.7 seconds here for the Legion. There are still too many players from Boston in this area. Clayster will find one as well. Reinforcements need to flood in from Legion if they can keep this alive. Beans will gun two as well as a long-range Vazdev fight, but they don't find anything, and the Legion have fallen. They will not win control. Their troubles continue on this game mode, new map or not.
Good first example of expo there between these two teams. And Boston close it out, and ultimately what makes the difference is Legion losing their first defensive side. And even on that attacking run, when you get a hold of B, it is not easy to grab A. Boston control the map beautifully. Still have somebody over towards the B side sitting around Globe. You can sit top bar as well, which is where Beans was dominating from. It's 27 non-traded kills from Ben Beans. Then he's taking up 4k damage, and it was enough to put Legion to bed in the control once more. There's definitely glimmers of hope, I want to say, Brycey. You know, teams are still figuring this out. Vegas Legion, though, could just never get control over towards that A side. They can never get control of zoners, which is where you want to be if you want to make that A attack successful. Really nice break over towards B in that final round to kick things off, but ultimately just couldn't find a couple of clean kills onto Boston to then give them that map control, to then potentially see a round number 5.
Yeah, and you are right. I think the biggest takeaway from this is obviously first of all, it looks better than Fortress. I'm just gonna put that out there. And the second is this map will evolve. It happens to all maps in Call of Duty. Is the team's gonna get a little bit more smooth with it, a little bit more flowing. The scrims only really kind of started in earnest this week. From the VOD, some of them were still figuring out what callouts they wanted to make and what spawns they wanted to manipulate, and that's just in the VOD we watched this week. So still not a great start here for Legion. Their control woes obviously well documented at this point, but hey, it's a very pretty map and it's here to stay.
I wish we could actually release the comms when we were trying to discuss what we think certain things should be called on this map, Bryce. Yeah, that was an interesting conversation. We'll maybe not go there for your benefit more than anybody else's. But Boston get themselves back into this series. That was a potential banana skin for both these two teams. We know coming into it, it was actually a Legion pick. Boston choose to get rid of their map that they don't favor. They would have played as LSC low. Vegas Legion say absolutely not, and we'll still get beat 3-1 for the Boston breach. We have a series potentially on our hands now. Hardpoint Embassy coming up for map number 4, and if we do need it, Greenberg Hotel Search and Destroy to close out the series. Big performance from Beanstad though, that is huge, a 1.94. Typical performance.
It really was as well. He just seemed to have the right positioning they needed to. I think it was between top bar and Saunders, always where he wanted to be. And this has been an interesting series, I think is the best way to put it. The hard point was obviously crazy, the S&D was close, and the control was new. So let's move on to this one. I know a lot of people are already probably thinking this could go game 5, Ton.
It very well could, but now we're going to be heading into a map that Legion feel good about, especially when it does come down to Embassy. It's a hard one to call this. I mean, look, you look at map number 1, I think, you know, Boston would have been feeling confident on that one. It's a 1-point difference for Legion to close it out. Legion are still in the prime position in this series. You at least, again, have a search and destroy for map number 5, of course. We know how good they're at search and destroy, or have been in previous iterations of this roster. Standing now is not going to make it worse, put it that way. The search and destroy map number 2 was comfortable. Boston Breach still have a lot of work to do here.
They do. And that's the great unknown, I suppose, Ton, is what has changed with the Legion. Are they going to suddenly surprise us and be one of the best hardpoint teams in the game? Now they've got extra firepower on board. I mean, and they need it. I said it at the start of the series. Legion currently sit in 9th position in the CDL standings overall. They are 20 points below 8th. And it is a very tight competition. Boston currently sitting a couple of points above that as well. I think they're 6th. But nobody is safe. Here we go. This is exactly where it is. I was correct. They are going to be 6th. We start talking at this stage about the bubble, about who could make it and who could not. It's a little bit more loose from last year, but the competitiveness is even higher. Even teams like the Subliners probably aren't safe at this point if they don't get any more points. right? There is an awful lot to go here. I think it's 230 total possible points remaining for these teams. That's a flawless qualifier and winning the next 2 majors as well. It's a long way, and Legion will need this points if they can grab it here.
It's a very, very long way. That would be something, wouldn't it? Win every single game in your qualifier, win both the majors, secured. In terms of champs, that's pretty much what London have to do at this stage. Well, maybe not delve into that for them, but both these 2 teams very much not safe, especially the side of Legion. But you'd argue Legion very much in an upwards trajectory in terms of how their form has been sitting. And aBeZy hardpoint is not a terrible one for them in terms of the hardpoint. 5-7, but Boston 5-2. Boston keep an eye on the breaks coming in from them, the second best team on the game at it, whereas Vegas Legion, they really do struggle. So rotations important for Legion, need to lock them down.
Right now, I can see just the Legion spreading out, not really going for this challenge to begin with, but TJ is happy to throw his name in the ring. A little bit of control going down as Owakening will just find everybody he can. But this isn't really ever about P1 at this point. Both teams playing for positioning, both teams just making sure that whenever they move around this map, they are aware that P2 is just upon the horizon.
Rotation is going to start coming on very, very shortly. Temp just trying to hold down top toilets as best as he can. This is the kind of map where Nero and Vivid really can cause havoc with Vegas Legion, but TJ and Standy are going to need to be at their best as they were in maps 1 and 2 if they want to close this out in 4. They know they have a good opportunity to score some crucial points, but Nero with a good kill over towards the back parking lot will eventually get taken down. Boston, good position over towards P2.
Yeah, Boston really spreading this out as well. They are spawning Legion very, very far away, but Beans is actually to take that fight. There's a fight going on the side as well as he sprays every single direction, and somehow, even though Boston had this, they've lost it.
Nice spray coming in from Legion. I suppose that is the prime example of getting that control over towards the back of parking lot. You can see Boston, even though they did have control, continuing to wrap around. Vegas Legion with control over towards that side. Awakening trying to disrupt that control right now. The push going to come from 2 different angles as Awakening finds 2 towards the back parking lot. The rest of Boston, are you here to do something about it, Clayster? You need to turn back around. It's 3 in for Awakening. Big plays from Big Wig once again. Make it for my word, Awakening.
He has caused some problems. Clayster, though, that's a huge first little snipe going through.
It's 5.
He wants to get up here. Throws a trophy up. There's already a player waiting for him as well, though. Here's Beans up top orange, but Clayster will gun him before he can do anything else. Clayster, a little bit isolated, though. Needs teammates to reinforce him so he doesn't have to look too many different directions. Eventually will be onto the point. It's a little bit spread out. Awakening already finding TJ. Clayster taking nades to the face.
And I wonder if Boston are just maybe playing this one a little bit slower because they're waiting for Awakening to maybe find a 6th. But as you call in your cruise missile, that's not what you want to see. It couldn't have went worse. But there's nobody at the point. Oh, Vegas Legion already spawned over towards the P5 side with Boston having that parking lot control. It's now about the fights heading over towards P5 potentially, and the fights inside of Orange. Nero will light up 2. TJ and Clayster fall. This should be some good time for the side of Vegas Legion, but it's going to come down to 1v1. Vivid is still here.
It's not really good time for anybody.
Wow.
P3 has been a bit of unexpected because nobody's got the time. Nobody had the lion's share either. Rotation currently in the hands of the Legion. And so much time has already gone, but they have got a small lead. And the rotations they move forward. Clayster will be watching the back for them.
And I suppose if you're Vegas Legion in that scenario, you didn't necessarily have that initial rotation over towards P3. You don't let Boston get a lot, if anything, on that either. So, works out for you. You're on the rotation over towards P5. You found some good gunfights as well. Big kills coming in. Clayster 11 and 5 now. Awakening is really the only reason Boston that have 30 points when he finds those breaks over towards the back parking lot. And now they are spawning absolutely miles away. Vegas Legion getting some great time here.
And Boston cannot find their way through. 10 getting some more kills onto the board as well. Awakening eventually finding one towards the back. He might chow for this as well, but Standy will shut him down. This is rotation again for Legion, but 10 cannot face 2 guns at once and will fall. And now Legion have a commanding lead. Can they make this a quick break and really hurt Boston?
Standy pushing forward. Here with the rest of the side to try and find these initial kills on this rotation. Just having this little bit of pressure in will help Vegas Legion out to spawn over towards the tennis courts with TJ. This could be the way in for the side of the Legion now as Boston soaking up some good time. 10 seconds gone. Still searching for these kills. Can he find it here? TJ, yes, he can. Potential break on the cards.
TJ now moving forward again. Has his teammates in reinforcements. Want to try and get through this one as well. As TJ will get it. It's a big break. And the Legion are hurting Boston on this hard point. We asked what the difference would be made. Does Stanley bring that much to this team? Right now he does. 12 and 6. A streak for him as well. And Legion on their campaign to be better, to try and reach for the top side of the CDL, are already making a statement for it.
I mean, I want to talk about that break again. Hopefully we'll get an opportunity to maybe see it, because what actually happens is standing at Tempo over towards the parking lot side, and they just spray it through the doors to just distract for TJ to then push himself through the red side. And it's just so easy for Legion at this moment in time. Standy just seems to be having these streaky moments. It's a 9 spree now. It was a 10 on Fortress. Lighting it up for Vegas Legion. May well be a 100-point lead shortly if Boston Breach don't start switching up.
And he's waiting. There he goes, finds the first one, knows his chow's coming as well. Stanley reading beans like a book. Almost finds a third onto Nero, but not quite. Boston get themselves into P1 for a little bit of time. Temp can't jump up there either. Will have to climb the ladder. And Legion will have to chow this because they don't want to give away too much time on a P1, and it is an incredible gunfight. That door is bulletproof.
Just a brilliant first rotation of hills from Vegas Legion, though. The SMGs have not slowed down. Standy is not slowing down at 20 and 8. A lot of people said this was a good pickup. A lot of people still probably felt a little bit bad for 2Real, but it's justified at this moment in time from Vegas Legion. This rotation again, though, looking good for Boston. It was a nice break from Legion from the parking lot side. They have those spawns again, Bryce.
And last time Legion just ran through this. Boston had a great setup. They spread out both sides of the map. Nero did exactly this last time as well. Gonna find Clayster. Looking for anybody else coming through. Stanley's actually gonna call in the cruise missile. Nobody's really here to get away with it, but they will back off. And that may just be enough. They're finding kills again here. The Legion looking to break down Boston. Boston trying to fight back as well. Big Awakening and Nero combining to just shut them out the door for a few seconds.
And if you're Legion now, you are keeping Boston off this for the most part. You can kind of go for this push if you want. You really just need to get rid of Awakening at this stage. Easier said than done. Awakening is here, as is Nero now, as the time did tick on through. Vegas Legion trying to get themselves across, and if anything, yeah, you've negated that time away from Boston, but this rotation, again, is looking a lot cleaner for the side of Boston Breach. They're over towards P3. We didn't see much time here last time around. Boston need a good chunk of it.
They certainly do. If they can get it, they will be right back into this game. Let's find out how they are feeling in the comms, though. So listen in with Boston Breach.
I send you orange.
P1 fire. War ladder. He was absolute. More ladder guys. P2. Warning. P2. I got P2.
I got your ladder.
Top PD. Top PD.
Yeah.
Last guy. There's one orange.
I'm on your orange.
Because orange.
Bottom orange.
Absolute P2.
Absolute bottom orange.
I'm trying to chase the schedule. P2 as well.
Orange dead.
P2 as well. Get orange.
I'm up. I'm orange.
It's P1 orange now.
Yep. Orange. I got bumped behind the door. Orange weak.
Go.
This one close. Once you meet on you guys.
Yeah.
I sent in my P1. I spawned back.
Money bathroom. Could be S1.
Nothing S1.
Double palm. Missing money fire.
We top PD.
Double palm. Double palm. I'm dead. Deliver clean teach. I'm gonna pinch top, bro.
Yeah, deep left of me. He's Xbox.
Don't block it.
Yeah, watch X for me, bro. How much time?
Is that the guy rolling for?
No.
Yeah, no, top guy spot. Shooting you, Joe. Look at you, Joe.
Yeah, I'm playing suicide.
Play top plat. I'm gonna spawn out.
You're gonna go spawn on me probably.
No, front off.
I spawn front.
Back.
Play is on top.
And Boston have this rotation. The comms are trying to figure out exactly where the Legion are laying in wait for them. But if they can hold this, and we'll be back in this game time. They are not fighting things in the kill feed as the Legion go to work and break.
Yeah, that's really nice from Legion once again. TJ just takes his time over towards the backside, and all of a sudden Vegas Legion put themselves in a position, and then they snap in. Boston yet to be able to match the intensity of the SMG. Standy is 27-13. He needed a statement week here, and he is really performing well for this Vegas Legion side, but the job's not done yet. TJ will find another onto Vivid. The kill's starting to come through. Starting to flow for Boston, but those last couple that are needed are not there. And look at Standy already on this rotation. Boston are currently all at sea. You're nowhere near the point in Standy. He's ready and waiting. There's another, and into the point. Go the Vegas Legion.
Can't find it anymore, though. Is a little bit tired, is a little bit broken. His teammates are trying to get here. Reinforcing Stanley. Finds the first. Stays alive. Jumping from counter to counter. Still not going down in this. Actually, Stanley continues to go to work. Knife out, but does eventually fall. But TJ eventually there to reinforce as well. The Legion should not have been allowed to get into this position. They should not have allowed to be breaking it straight away as well. Wow. But the fights continue to go their way on the back of Stanley. Get your fantasy picks in. He is making points for you today.
31 and 16 from Stanley right now. It is a 100-point or so lead for Vegas Legion. Ultimately, though, Boston have managed to find a breakthrough through thick and thin, if anything. Owakening will find one over towards the backside, but it's a break from the front that you got to be worried about. TJ will be there for the trade. Nobody here from Boston. Legion cannot win it here crucially, and Boston will have another bite at this one to try and find something. But Legion are going to be so close. Boston need to be pretty much perfect if they want to remain in the series, Bryce.
Well, they get a few seconds here, and then it goes to P1. The best part here for Legion is that they can put pressure on the P1 at all times, and Boston will have to deflect it. Boston cannot worry about P2. They are in danger of losing this game right here and right now. You can see on the minimap they are setting up. They are in laundry, they are in red, they are going orange as well. They cannot afford to let this slip.
They need good time on P1, but the stats tell us that Boston are the weakest team at finding points on P1. You need to find points, you need to stop Legion getting some of their own. That's the first gunfight I've seen Stanley lose in about 35 minutes. His movement will find one onto TJ. Good start from Boston Breach on this potential comeback. Still 15 seconds for Vegas Legion. It's not just a touch that they need. They need a decent setup. They need a good chunk of time. And that good chunk of time that Boston need is starting to come to fruition. Good time over towards P1, but rotation in 10 seconds is the most crucial thing. Legion are here. Boston are not. Boston have got to pull something out the fire right now, Bryce.
There is a little bit of wind beneath the wings here of Boston. They have done it. Awakening to a 5 streak. They're now looking towards P2. They are not letting Legion put them down like this as they have the break. They're on the point here. Clayster is fighting his way, but that is a tennis court spawn for Legion. Temple finds a second as well, though. Only Big Way can try and deflect it, and he can't do it. 14 seconds left as Clayster himself goes to work. And now Boston, with 10 seconds remaining, are spawning in Narnia. It is the Lion, the Witch, the Wardrobe, but it could be the W for Legion as Temp looks for the first and the second towards the front door, and it's done. Legion take down Boston in this one. Smiles aplenty from Temp. He knows it's a big game for them. Revenge is best served in ongoing qualifiers, ton.
Oh, Vegas Legion. You've got a bit. You were doing so well. 3-1 for Vegas Legion. The hard points go their way. Control, yeah, again, still an issue. But the factor for Legion in both of those hard point wins are the SMGs. Standing this time around, it was TJ in map number 1. And it has made the difference. For all that we were big on Surreal and the players that he was making, he ain't dropping 34 on the heads of Boston Breach like that. And it wasn't just kills that he was finding inside the hills when they were finding the rotations. He was there first so many times for Vegas Legions. He was making so many different plays in so many different facets. It was so difficult for Boston to deal with it. We picked up players like Vivid and Nero. They matched to a certain degree, but they didn't excel like Standy did. Big game out of Legion. Big win for Legion, and that is a great start to their Major IV qualifiers, and it's a big scalp to take. Boston Breach are no joke whatsoever. Big win for Legion, as you said, a nice revenge win as well.
It really is. That does put them 10 points away from 8th as well. Things are starting to heat up in the CDL, and I'm all here for it. Standy had to make a statement coming back into this team, joins the Legion. A Cinderella run could be on the cards. Well, let's find out what our desk made of that game.
What a flip in storylines here. From a 3-0 from Boston back at the Major 3. Now we see a 3-1 from the new-looking Legion. And let's talk about the new addition. Standy comes into the lineup already. You're seeing the difference in the squad. TJ having one of the best matches I've seen from him. It looks like the whole team elevated their performance.
No, I completely agree. I think what was most impressive is just how impactful those kills were. I mean, 30 bombs in both of those hard points. And map 1, 250 to 249. Tell me the amount of times Vegas Legion have pushed these teams to the limit when it comes to these hard points throughout the entirety of this season. They will get just about there, and then they will choke in the last couple of hills to lose those hard points. They didn't let it happen at map number 1. It was a huge spree off of TJ in that P2, and it was the double nade from Standy to close it out. Same deal with this aBeZy. This is one of their best hardpoint maps, even though they're only 5 and 7 on it. And because they had the impactful kills on Standy, 34 and 21. Boston Breach showed some life in those last couple of hills. Once again, thought Vegas Legion might fall just a step short. They don't do it, and they close it out. It is a huge win for the Vegas Legion.
Yeah, that was a massive performance by the SMGs as well. I mean, we talk about TJ and the amount of kills, how he balled all on that map number 1, but also Standy, like early on to get the ball rolling. They had that fantastic P3 hold where traditionally they haven't been great on Statue Hill on Fortress. Well, they do great there, and then Standy gets pushed all the way out and goes on, I think it was a 13 kill streak in top art. The man was going nuts. We go into the search and destroy. It's the SMGs once again. A couple of rounds, back-to-back 3 pieces out of them. Everybody getting involved where they got the majority of the first bloods here. Just a cool, calm, and collected series. It looked like they have been playing together for months at this point, and Standy looked great in his first showing.
TJ, 1.58, dropping 38 kills in that game number 1. A ridiculous performance from a guy known for his search and destroy play. But can we talk about Expo? It was that game 3, the new map coming out for the first time here at the CDL. What do we think? Better than Fortress?
Way better. I mean, we saw an offensive win right off the bat. Okay, listen, we saw, some teams trying to execute that spawn trap. We saw Beans up top. They almost had him trapped there, bottom statue. But there's opportunities to get out. As you were highlighting, we were in the green room, like Vegas was able to get out of that spawn trap. They get through, and they do capture a point. Offense definitely having a better time on Expo so far than Fortress.
Now, I picked Legion, but that was only because both of you went Boston here. What did you learn about Boston, or did you learn more that Legion is now a team to contend with the teams above Boston?
I think my biggest takeaway when it comes to this specific matchup is definitely taking more away from the fact that Vegas Legion are closing out their respawns, because that has been a frustration for them throughout this entire season. Also, they're still losing that map number 3. Again, new map, so like give and take what you will. They're still losing controls, but if they can just get on the level of some of these teams where they can write off one map mode, if they can write off that search and destroy as a guaranteed, which hasn't faltered since adding Standy into the lineup, they can write off that hard point, you can stay out of control all you want.
Yeah, I feel like Vegas looked great. Like, I'm going to attribute this more to like honeymoon stage of Vegas, Standy fitting in like a glove, good roster, but also with Boston, it has to be said when you look at this team, like there are some inconsistencies that time. We saw Nero have a very bad start to this year's Awakening, starting off 2 and 10 and then flipping it around, right? So maybe they're still looking to find that consistency. And also the first bloods, we heard Ton talking about it in that game 2 search on a CeeLo. Like, they give up the most first bloods in the league on that map and still not changed with a lot of time since that last major. Some things to work on for Boston for sure. I was one of the people who had them in the A tier. The community did as well. And the community did not have them in the A tier is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Maybe the community was right.
Maybe the community was right. Maybe it's just one match and we don't know enough yet. But one thing I know for sure is that we have 2 gentlemen earning Scuff Play of the Game honors tonight. It belongs to TJ and Standy, the new sub lineup for the Vegas Legion. Walk me through this game number 1, Allie, because Standy, he took over the first 3 minutes.
He did. I mean, inside of art building, Standy was just literally untradeable, and it's one of those things that Vegas Legion needed. One of the things I took away from Vegas, I didn't think that they needed these impactful kill players because they had the likes of Temp and Clay dropping these big numbers, but the change of just the overall feel of having a player like Standy dropping a number like 30, I saw Temp soaking hill time. I was mind blown. I was like, this guy's just sitting here. He has a minute. Standy has no seconds whatsoever. Everybody else is under 30. I was like, this has changed some of their game plan. It is working out beautifully.
Yeah, I just feel like, as an AR player, there's only so much you can really do all the time. time.
Yeah.
And when you have an SMG who's able to get kills when you have that advantage, it just makes your job that much easier on kill setups. And that's what Standy was doing, like picking up kills when he needs to.
Final 10 seconds of that hard point. Ridiculous. If you missed game number 1, if you're still at work, that is the VOD you need to go back and watch. We still have 2 more series to go tonight before we get to that second matchup. Quick reminder, get your gear. You can rock your brand new Vegas Legion hoodie over at callofdutyleague.com. shop.callofdutyleague.com. And of course, make sure you are rocking your favorite gear in game. We want to see you wardrobed up when it comes to ranked. Which one have you been seeing in most of your lobbies recently? I've seen a lot of purple, but it's been a lot of OpTic recently, Ali.
It has been, in fact, a lot of OpTic. I do see a lot of LA Thieves, though, still as well, and a couple of Toronto Ultras as of recent.
We're going to be talking with a member of the Vegas Legion when we come back. 2 more series still to go. Don't go anywhere. This is day 1 of the Major IV Qualifiers. Welcome back, you Call of Duty addicts. It's Puckett alongside Alley Cat and Nameless. And after the Legion take down Boston Breach, we've got a little change up in our scores. Let's take a look at our overall standings. And we need to remind the folks at home, we are all fighting for a top 8 spot. You gotta be in the top 8 if you want to play at Chips. The Legion are now just 10 points back of Røkkr, a team that was in the top 3 for most of this year, now on the bubble, Alley.
Yeah, and this is, I think, the closest they've been. I mean, last year they were nowhere near it. Now they're fighting for that top 8 spot, and we've seen stories like this before. The Cinderella story of New York last year. Vegas Legion have a little bit more points than they did around that time and can easily break into that top 8 here.
Tonight's win over Boston is a big one for them, and to celebrate right now, we bring Clayster onto the show. Clay, you are now just 10 points back of 8th place in the league. You've got a new face for the second time in 2 majors. Let's start there. What did you talk about after finishing 5th, 6th? The squad decided you needed a change. How did you decide on Standy?
We actually didn't really decide on Standy. It kind of just fell into our lap a little bit. I don't even think we were going to make a change, but as soon as we saw that Standy got released from Toronto, which means he's an unrestricted free agent, which means he has no buyout, it just became a no-brainer for us. I mean, Two-Real helped us a lot, and he helped our team a lot, but we really lacked some slaying power, and I think we have all year, especially on our sub side of things. And I think Eli just complements TJ perfectly, and we just saw like the opportunity and decided to take it.
Yeah, fair enough. And talking about opportunity, there's a new map in as well. Did Vegas Legion vote for Expo to be in?
Of course we did. I mean, we lost a Marquee B on Fortress Control. Like, of course that map is out of here, dude. So we got a bunch of reps on it. We like Kimmy. We actually probably played it the most out of anybody. We've been scrimming it like 5 times per scrim set. Like, we just play it over and over and over. And I think we just got a little away from what we were trying to do. We lost that first offense, and it kind of threw a wrench in our plans. The map's awesome, so much better than Fortress Control. I mean, even just a look of it, it just looks better.
It's pretty.
Oh, good. I was gonna ask, you know, after the series if you still wanted it in, but it sounds like hopes are high. So.
Yeah, they definitely are still high.
Clay, I want to ask you, we talked a little bit about it privately, but I wanted to ask you on broadcast with Standy, what are you trying to teach him or like bring him into your system? How have you guys been working together in practice?
Yeah, I think it's been one of the more easier fits because Eli has such experience in the Pro League and he's so confident in himself and his slaying ability that we kind of brought him in and we're like, we don't want you doing what Two-Real did. Like, we don't want you doing what ProLoot did. We want you to do what you do because you do that best. And so he's really like surprisingly led the charge and like the initiative in a lot of like VOD review, like going over strategy. Like, he kind of forces the rest of us, like if we're kind of dragging our feet a bit, he's like, guys, get in the Discord, let's watch some VOD together. And I really like that about him. He's really taken charge and really came into his own. We allow him the freedom and the confidence to really do what he wants. And so what I'm trying to teach him is just that extra level stuff, the championship caliber stuff, the winning mentality stuff. And I think what he did on that Fortress where he was just in their art forever, like we've been begging for that all year to happen. And just to see it happen against a good team like Boston, it really just felt so nice. And massive props to everybody on the team. I think Temp after the match goes, that's the first time in 3 years I've been carried. Good job, guys. And so just hearing that coming out of Temp, he's feeling good about the team. I'm feeling good. Tej is feeling great. He played phenomenal as well. Really love seeing Tej get unlocked with Eli on the other side of his sub duo. So really, team is just meshing well. We got to do well this stage. Got to make winners bracket, and this is a good start.
I wanted to ask one quick follow-up because you guys turned up in that series. You look unbelievable. Has it been like that in scrims, or did something happen when the lights came on and it was time to play a match?
I would say our scrims have been a little 50-50. I mean, so, like, we haven't been getting blown out, which is nice, but just the energy levels in the scrims today felt different. It felt awesome. You could really tell everybody was like, okay, this is time to play. We're here to play this match. Like, you could tell everybody got elevated a little bit, which sometimes on our older team, these online matches playing from like our houses, it's kind of hard to get everybody in sync and on the same wavelength, on the same vibe. So it was nice to show up today and have everybody really feel like we were at like a tournament, like at a major play.
Vegas is in the running. Congratulations on the win tonight. We look forward to your next matchup, Clay.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate all y'all.
That is Vegas opening up the day with the first win, but we have our second matchup ready to go, and it features a team that has also made a roster change. The London Royal Ravens are at the very bottom of the pyramid right now. They're in 12th place. They need to climb to the top 8 if they want to play at champs, and they know it is desperation time.
Yeah.
They made a move. What do we think about the swap here? We talked about the new face on the pre-show. Yuli is in the mix now.
Yeah, no, I mean, big shout out to Spaceman coming on earlier and kind of even educating me about Yuli and his background and what he could possibly add to this squad. And I think what's great about this situation for London, obviously not so much their points, but coming off of Major 3, coming off of those qualifiers, making that role change between Nasty now being on that AR, I feel like we've seen maybe a different player. I feel like that's maybe where he was supposed to be all along. So I'm interested to see how Yuli kind of fits now as that new sub-duo next to a C.
Yeah, you know, looking at this London team, remember we were talking about them after their online performance. Wasn't that bad? 2 and 3.
Yeah.